with you a little bit about myself before I came to Hannah's house. I was a drug addict. That's pretty much what defined me. In May 2011, I overdosed on heroin. I woke up the next morning listening to my drug dealer boyfriend tell me about how my lips turned almost black, and he couldn't find my pulse. I remember that morning my throat felt like someone had been standing on it. It was really painful to swallow. I later learned that that's what your throat feels like after you almost die of an overdose. One would think that almost dying might make them stop what they are doing. Not me. After I was done listening to the story of my overdose, I grabbed a needle and I shot up again. Getting high or sleeping the day away was what was important to me. Before my battle with opiate addiction began, I was prescribed several different kinds of medications for several different kinds of problems. Ritalin, Xanax, Effexor, Paxil, Ambien, and Depakote for a bipolar disorder I never even had. Hidden behind all those prescribed drugs was a very long-standing addiction to methamphetamines. It turns out the only real disorder I was suffering from was a very serious addiction to drugs. Not only that, the life I was living, simply put, was a buffet of sin I found myself indulging in every day. I knew that if I didn't change the way I was living, that I would surely die. But I really didn't care. I gave birth to my son Wyatt right in the heart of my meth addiction. We both tested positive for meth at the hospital. DHS was involved in my life immediately. I was allowed to take him home from the hospital, but since I didn't fulfill any requirements my caseworker asked of me, like show up for meetings at his office or sign up for outpatient classes so that I could get sober, the state of Oregon came in and took my son away from me when he was just 3 months old and placed him in foster care. I had no business having another baby. My life was a ridiculous mess. My daughter Pearl had long since gone to live with her dad when she was 4 years old. In my mind, I was the victim in all this. My daughter was gone, now my son was gone. I was feeling really sorry for myself. This was yet another disaster in my life that was someone else's fault. At that point in time, my next choice wasn't to go to rehab like the people who had control of my son were saying I had to do. Oh no, I chose to dive headfirst into full-blown heroin addiction. Getting my son back wasn't my focus. Shooting that garbage into my veins, night after night, however it was. Day and night, actually. I didn't trade one for the other. I smoked one and shot the other. I went into detox 4 times the year following the removal of my son. I checked into other treatment centers, nice treatment centers, where the programs weren't like a year long. They just didn't work for me. I walked out every time. I left one at 3 o'clock in the morning and went straight to my dealer's house. It didn't matter that my son was gone. In my mind, if people really knew what it was like for me not to be on drugs, they wouldn't dream of asking me to stop. Treatment became a revolving door in my life. In and out of detox, in and out of outpatient, in and out of inpatient, back to the dealers. Each attempt ending in sad failure, except for the trip I would take to the dealer's house. That was a failure of a different kind. I just couldn't make myself stay in treatment. My sister kept telling me, you know, Bren, there's this place in Eugene called Hannah's house. The moment she told me it was faith-based, I said to her, Ange, I can't deal with that God stuff right now. I have real problems here. At that point, I figured I'd pretty much blown every chance I had to get my baby back anyways. He was with the foster family for 8 months, and then he went to live with my wonderful sister and her husband for the next year. Every day I woke up, I had the choice to stop using and try to get my son back, and every day I chose the drugs. I had become a person whose main purpose was getting high or being fast asleep. My dad would say to me, you're going to sleep your life away, Brand. Well, that's kind of what I was going for. If it didn't have something to do with being high or being asleep, I didn't have it in me to care. Being unconscious was my goal. My dad would say, you got to get back into life, Brand. No, sorry, Dad, but I wasn't interested. But I'm not interested. The truth is, I really didn't know how to get back into life. I'd been abusing really hard drugs for 10 plus years. I was so full of sadness from all I had lost along the way, and for the way I was choosing to live my life, that I really thought drugs were my only option. I absolutely could not face life. I got to the point where I wasn't trying to die, but I really didn't care if I lived. I knew every time I risked not ever waking up again with each shot I took. Nothing mattered to me anymore. What was I good for? What was I here for? What did I have left to live for? Who would ever want me now? I'm nothing but a junkie. I hated everything and everyone. Maybe more, the one I really hated was myself. I reached the point long ago where I didn't believe that I could ever stop. I believed that this was what I deserved, and let me tell you, that's a really scary place to find yourself. I was so completely addicted to heroin and meth that I couldn't wrap my mind around a life without these drugs. That was until September 4th, 2011. I had finally given in to my sister's suggestion, and I checked into Hannah's house. That day proved to be the first day of the rest of my now incredible life. When I got to Hannah's house, I didn't really sleep for several days. I started wondering if I would ever sleep again because it had been several years since I had gone to bed without some kind of sedative. But about a week and a half in, I found rest. Not the rest that comes from putting a needle in your arm either, real rest. There was a constant war going on inside my mind. I was daily trying to rationalize why I didn't need to be there. For me, walking away from being high was very scary. I actually had to start evaluating my life, who I was, what I had done, what I had lost, and who I had hurt. And I had to do it sober. I had to feel everything I had been stuck in for so long, all the failure and all the shame. I had to walk through it all and feel it all, not knowing if I would even come out on the other side a changed person. I believed to the core of my soul that there was no hope for me in this life. As I stand here today, I see myself as the daughter of the greatest, most forgiving, redeeming, life-saving, perfect God of this universe. A God who brought me to an awareness of what life on this planet could really be like. I have never been happy in my life. Since coming to Hannah's house, I have not only found what it feels like to truly be happy, but I have found an amazing life where I have a purpose and a calling to serve the one true God. A God who brought the amazing ministry of Teen Challenge into my life and the life of so many others. God used this incredible ministry to deliver me from the sinful life that I was enveloped in. Teen Challenge saved my life. During my walk at Hannah's house, God reached in and He ripped out the darkness that had plagued my soul for so very long. Halfway through my program at Hannah's house, my son Wyatt was returned to my care. Because of this ministry, I get to be a mommy again. I decided after completing my program that I would stay at Hannah's house for another year as an intern. I believe so fervently in the healing power of Jesus Christ that moves through this program, I couldn't see not continuing to be a part of it. I have been given such a tremendous opportunity to serve God by choosing to stay on an intern. I get to watch God do miracles in the lives of the women at Hannah's house every day. I thank God for choosing me to walk beside the girls at Hannah's house as they walk out of the unwholesome things that have been controlling their lives. I get to watch them walk out of addictions and life choices that have plagued them for so long. I have such a unique opportunity to be mentored by the greatest people that I have ever met in my life. The staff at Hannah's house is a group of people that God uses to aid Him in saving the lives of the women He brings there. I know this because I am one of those women. They are people that believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. They are people that helped me conquer what seemed like an impossible situation where regaining custody of my son was concerned. When I didn't believe in anything, God used them to show me the way back home. The staff at Hannah's house is just one of the countless blessings that God has poured into my life. Through this program, I have learned how to be an overcomer because I know with all my heart God is with me every step of the way. Had this ministry not been available to me, I truly believe that I would not be here, I would not be alive today. Here I stand, a life saved, because of the very real and very awesome power of our Savior Jesus Christ that I found in the program Hannah's House Teen Challenge. Thank you.